G'day again, it's Jill from Roots Tech, and this time I've snagged a really big fish. I'm lucky enough to have sitting beside me Dennis Brimhall, who's the CEO of Family Search International.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. So Dennis, you've been in your job now for 12 months. When I met you last year at Roots Tech, you were a very new boy on the block.
Was it that obvious?
It wasn't obvious, but you were letting us all know. But you were certainly getting out and about and meeting everyone and making yourself known. So I got this feeling from then that you're a bit of a people person. And I observed in the last couple of years when I've been coming along to Roots Tech and seeing Family Search, that there was a strong focus on technology. Then you came along and you appear to be a people person. And I'm sensing there's a little bit of a shift in focus, and you did share this with us in the dinner the other night for the bloggers. Can you tell me about what's happened in the last 12 months and where you're taking Family Search?
Well, it's interesting you'd make that observation. I mean, part of it is just natural. I'm not a technologist by nature. I don't come out of a technology background. I come out of a service background. And so, notwithstanding anything else, my natural tendency will be to view things from a customer standpoint, or we call them patrons standpoint, and then look at technology as a way to enable that experience to happen. And so in the department this last year, we've done some interesting things. We've actually had our teams write stories of what the experience would be like for the patron from the patron's viewpoint as opposed from ours. And then say, how does that experience differ from what we're doing, so that we can begin to modify and change to meet the needs of the patron. And that may be with a consultant, it may be in a library, it may be on the phone, it may be on the website, any of those things. And so I think it's just a natural evolution. We're not going to abandon technology. It's of course so important. We just want to keep what we say the proper use of technology.
Well, I'm very lucky in that I had a sneak peek of things that you've planned, and I don't know when they're all going to be announced publicly.
Yeah, just in a few weeks.
In
April. Yeah.
So I can see that you're really taking the customer into account.
Right.
And you're realising, well, I guess you want to hit a larger demographic, a bigger demographic. You're going to have a focus on youth?
We realise that such a narrow spectrum of people are using what we have, and we spend an enormous amount of money to get it. And the money comes from the donations of the members of our church. And so we just feel we've got to get more people interested. Well, we don't think we'll get more people interested by saying, come and look at a pedigree chart.
Yeah.
Now, they may get there someday, but what we say, you'll be more interested if you come and have some quick rewards and do some things initially, and much of that deals with stories and photos and experiences of sharing and talking to mothers and sharing to friends. And so as we move in that direction, we think that will invite more people in. And then at some point they'll say, well, I'm really interested about my great-great-grandfather, and then we have records to help them.
That's good. And speaking again about your target audience, I noticed that people, well, I'm from an education background, and I always found that the older children didn't have the skills of the younger children. So nowadays, those older children are perhaps in their 40s. But they still, some people in their 40s don't have technological skills, the skills with technology, but yet they're the people that you're wanting to get interested in family history. So do you have any means, apart from using your databases, etc., to spark those people's interests?
Well, as we look forward, there's a couple of, I hate using this term, but you'll know what I mean, demographics. There's couples of groups of people that we think that would be interested if we just presented it the right way. One is the youth. Yeah. Because the youth are technologically savvy. And they will respond to certain things. They respond to sharing and being reinforced that their sharing is liked by other people. And so we're going to have on Saturday, we're going to have 2,000 12 to 18-year-olds who will be here. And when we first started to extend that invitation, we didn't get a very good response. So we asked them to use the social media to have their friends came, and all of a sudden people came. Now it's going to be interesting because you know, the youth will very quickly tell us whether they like it or not. So we'll be monitoring the texts and the tweets during that time, and if they say this is boring, then we'll know we've missed the boat. We got to move it a little bit.
You have to rethink.
But we don't think we've done enough testing to know that if we deal with the right things, they will find it interesting, and then they're going to text and tweet that, and we'll know. Yeah. So that's one demographic. The other is the busy people, the busy mother, the busy father. What would cause them to do it? And for them, there's different reasons, but we know one thing: they'll connect up if it has to do with their children. So maybe the way to get the grandfather involved is get his child involved, or sharing with the child. So we've done enough testing to know that there are certain populations out there that will respond if we simply present opportunities, and most of it has to do with sharing and with stories and those experiences.
So you're taking people's emotions into account, really?
We're turning hearts.
Yeah.
Many times people say, what are you about in Family Search? And I say this: we're all about hoping that people and helping people fall in love with their ancestors.
That's right.
It's a love story.
I know. Look, my children aren't interested in family history. The grandchildren are. But my own children aren't. But yet, I realise they follow my blog, and every so often I'll get a comment. I didn't know Auntie so-and-so did this, or I didn't know great-grandmother, because they want the stories. They want the flesh on the bones. They don't want that.
They don't want the pedigree chart.
They don't want the dates.
Yeah,
they don't want the dates. Now, Family Search does so much for all of us around the world by making their resources freely available over the internet and in your family history centres and in your libraries. What opportunities are there for people in Australia or people anywhere to give back to Family Search?
Well, thank you for asking. One of the most important ways that people can give back is to help us index. Because you know that the bottleneck between records and searching is taking the image and seeing the name on the image of a record and then typing that name in to where it can be searched online. And so we have about 170,000 volunteer indexers, but we always need more. And so one thing people can do is people can log on very simply, go to our site, say I want to index, download batches and index. And it's fun. The kids love it because they like accomplishing things. We have a huge number of youth that are indexing now, and that's one thing. Another thing is they can just share. They can invite people in and share. And you know, next year we're going to try to have RootTech go international. And so there, somebody may have the opportunity to say, we will sponsor a local family history fair, and then we can provide RootsTech material for that fair, but we want it to be local. We just don't want it to be a broadcast of RootsTech. We want it to be a local family history fair for which we can provide some content.
You're turning on light bulbs.
Good. We hope so.
That's wonderful, because I've been to 3 RootsTechs in a row. I'm not sure that I'll make it again next year. And when I saw that little map come up in your keynote, and it showed that you're planning next year, if things go well, to have local fairs in Australia, I thought, what we do?
Well, we're trying this year, we're trying in 16 local fairs in 7 countries, in language, to where we're testing the concept. Will it work? Can we get the local sponsors to organize it, put it together? We help them with a local website, and then we will broadcast to them the material. They can select the right things. We have to figure out if it's going to work. If it works, then we can take this anywhere in the world. I mean, we have the capability to do it. We have the translators, all that stuff we have, and see if we can't take this from a RootsTech of 6,000 or 7,000 to 60,000 or 70,000 a year. Then we're starting to make this thing really work, as opposed to just a couple of more thousand people every year.
You're going viral. Yeah, that's wonderful. And I'm a member of the Genia blogging community, so similarly we can do the same sort of thing as any volunteer.
Right.
We can just get the word out for you. Is there anything particular you want us to emphasise in our blogging posts?
Well, we want people to. We think that if the people in the local societies and genealogical communities, we think the key to bringing more people in, one is let's not forget to talk about stories and share stories and teach people how to do that, as opposed to just going back one more generation. The second thing, indexing is very, very important. That's a way to get anybody involved. And as we move forward and learn more about this, the opportunity may come to sponsor a local family history fair for which we could coordinate and have RootsTech material available for you.
Fantastic, that's wonderful. Well, Dennis, I know how much time, how your time is precious, especially at a time like this when there are 7,000 odd people around.
Well, thank you for coming all the way from down under, and having been there, I have a great affinity for that part of the world, and we do have some trips planned down there, and hope to connect up.
Hope to connect. Thank you so much,
Thank
Dennis.
you. Be well.